Excellent. Well, welcome everyone to Discover Downtown Art HERstory. My name is David Moore and I'm with Downtown Raleigh Alliance. This month, we're changing things up with our Discover Downtown program. In celebration of Women's History Month, we're launching a self-guided tour featuring public artwork created by women artists in the Fayetteville Street District. In addition to that self-guided tour, we're also partnering with 4 artists to share their stories and discuss a public art project of theirs. Today, I'm joined by local artist, Georgia Tardy. Welcome, Georgia.
Thank you, David. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I'm super excited to be talking to you today about your piece that's located at Whiskey Kitchen. So we're gonna just jump right into this.
Cool.
Awesome. So first, I just would love to learn a little bit more about you. What's your background? How did you get into artwork?
Wow. Well, I will make a long story very short for you. I have been an artist all my life. Originally, I'm from a small city in Michigan, Kalamazoo, Michigan. And I was fortunate to grow up in an environment with a family who supported and encouraged my creativity. So I have literally been an artist all of my life. My husband and I have been in North Carolina for about 6 years, but my art career started back home in Michigan.
Excellent. So by the way, I'm from Ohio, so that's
Midwest.
yeah, Midwest is definitely in that house. So could you talk a little bit about the different types of art that you may create and what led you towards those different medias?
Sure. I create mainly abstract paintings and drawings. My work that you will see is heavily influenced by the Art Nouveau movement. So if you look up that movement, you'll see a lot of organic shapes, lines, the curves. My work also consists of repeated motifs. You'll see the flowers, the botanical themes, and the main subject matter of the female imagery in my work. So you will see lots of bold colors, lots of very flowy, curvy lines that with the statement being that central female image.
Excellent. So shifting gears and talking more about this piece, I Am a Journey to Self-Love. Can you first just start by telling us what inspired that title?
Yes, it's very personal. All of my work I create from a very personal place. I do that to keep it authentic. I learned a long time ago to create the art that I want to see and not to create art just for the sake of money. And since doing that, I just create from, my life experience. This particular piece is just about my personal journey to self-love and hopefully inspiration to others. You see a female face. She is surrounded by abstract shapes and lines, and with this lotus flower. The lotus flower is also a repeated image that I use in my work just because it represents beauty through hardship. This piece represents the beauty that can come through challenges, through hardships, particularly during this time of COVID. I wanted to give hope and give a little bit of light and really communicate my personal journey to self-love through this piece and hopefully inspire others.
No, it's an amazing piece. And I can speak for my company, we were very thankful to see a piece like this come to downtown and happen. And, representation is everything.
Yes, it is.
And from a person of color standpoint to also a woman standpoint, we don't have a lot of that in our public art world.
Right.
And so, this is why we're doing this tour and having this conversation, because a lot of our women artists are not getting the credit that they are due. And also, in that public art world, we're not seeing that. So I'm, again, just very thankful to see this piece downtown for the folks that it represents, and they can feel a piece of downtown, because we are firm believers that downtown Raleigh is a neighborhood for everyone.
Yes,
So
it
again,
is.
thank you for contributing to that space.
Oh, I'm glad to have had the opportunity. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you for appreciating that. I'm glad that you said that because that's a big part of why I create. So thank you.
same here. I want to jump in and talk a little bit about what started the mural. Can you tell us a little bit about, you said it a little bit earlier, when people see a mural, they're really seeing the fun part, but they're not seeing what the work that goes into it.
Yeah.
So could you just talk a little bit about your process and how long it took you?
Sure. This particular piece was a collaborative project through Mural's project, connected me to the owners of the Whiskey Kitchen. Um, and the cool thing about the Whiskey Kitchen is they have these two dedicated walls on the exterior that are specifically for public art, for local artists, which I think is awesome. So I got connected through Raleigh Murals project, and the Whiskey Kitchen owner, Mike, just really loved my work and gave me creative freedom, which is wonderful. The process that you're seeing now is creating the grid. This particular piece, I had to grid it out by hand. There are different processes to getting a mural on a wall to scale. And this is just one of them. This is a basic grid. And yeah, this is the hard part. This, by the time you see a finished piece and it's painted and it's all pretty, the artist is taking a deep sigh inside. It is done. I can put color on it. It's finished. So the process right now that you see is me drawing out the grid, sketching out my drawing front to scale on the wall, getting the proportions correct, making sure her face looks like a human face, making sure all of her features are recognizable, and just getting everything to scale in preparation to paint. So this is the hard part.
And how long does it take you for the sketch portion and then the actual painting of the mural?
This project I worked on it over the course of a couple of weeks, and that's actually long, only because I could only work on it before the business was open.
Mhm.
Right. So I was out there every morning from about 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. because they opened around 10:30, 11. And you see all my stuff, like that's right in the entryway. So nobody could walk into the business if they were coming in. So I had to be all cleaned up by like 10:30.
Mhm.
So over the course of 2 weeks, because there were a few rain days in there, I completed this.
Excellent job. And
Thank
so
you.
again, we're going to change to the finished project.
Mhm,
I
mhm.
love asking this question. If budget was not an issue, what kind of public art would you like to create next?
If money was not an issue, isn't that the magic question?
I know, right?
I I would love to create the type of work that tells my story as well as the story of the people around me and the community around me. Uh, I would love to create the type of work that involves the community because once I create a work of art, my thought process is it no longer belongs to me. I've given it away to you for you to enjoy. So it's important that the work has the contributions of those around me. So ideally, if budget were no object, it would be community. It would be very collaborative with the community. I'm a former art teacher, so I love to get young artists involved in projects like this, especially young artists that have never had the opportunity to work on a mural.
Amazing. I love the fact that you said, in the future, and if money is not a constraint, that you would love to do more community-based murals. And
Mhm,
that's amazing because a lot of artists are out there, are protective of their work, and
mhm.
rightfully so, because as
Yeah.
a creative, you want to tell your story and your ideas and, invoke that through the piece you're creating. But it
Mhm.
takes a special artist to want to invite the community in to help shape that piece. And so I think that's amazing. I think, in the future, we'd love to see more projects like that. It just
Mm-hmm.
takes extra time. And that's one thing that, as a person like me that works for Downtown Raleigh Alliance or another administrator or even a developer out there, like that work is possible. You just have to prepare for it and
Yep.
find ways to bring people in and meet them where they are so that the project can be, as inclusive as possible.
Exactly. Exactly. I totally agree.
Yeah. I wanted to ask too, because like, I remember seeing you out there
Oh,
painting
you.
this, or I live downtown, so I'm always doing like a loop around Moore Square and Nash Square. Like that's just like one of my daily walks. And so I remember seeing this piece come to life. And
Mm.
one of the things that I was really interested in was, is there an intention behind leaving the woman's face, without any colors, and it's just, the shape of her features and her face?
It is intentional because as a Black woman, there are so many shades of
Mm,
us. So I will always have Black women represented in my work in various poses, expressions, whether they are very peaceful and thoughtful, like this image, or they're laughing, or they just have a joyful expression on their face. I leave them without any color and simply the Black lines with our facial features to be able to have any woman of color identify with her, whether she is darker skinned, whether she is lighter skinned, whether she's in the middle skinned,
yeah,
all of our various tones and shades. That is why I leave them just the lines. So any Black woman can look at her and say, oh, I see me, or I see my cousin, or I see my sister, or I see my mother. So that is the
yeah.
intention behind that.
That's so important. One of the next thing I want to ask is, as a working artist, what can we as the community do to support you and your work?
That's a loaded question. Well, first and foremost, you can always support me and other local artists by simply buying our work. I
Mhm.
mean, it's as simple as that. Just buy local artists' work. When you're thinking, oh, I'd like a piece for my living room, or think local first before going out. The second way that the community can support my work is, continuing to value the arts.
Mhm.
And that's very vague. I get that that statement is vague, but what I mean is artistic contributions in the community are just as important as everything else. I don't look at art as a luxury or a discretionary item. Art is a necessity and a part of our everyday lives. So the best thing that the community could do to support me as an artist is to change your perception of art from luxury to art as necessity.
Excellent. Thank you for that answer. So, community out there, you heard it from Georgia. You know what to do. Buy local, and from art to the clothing that we buy to
Everything,
the food.
everything.
Let's start at home and support our local business. And I think what people also need to understand is that artists are business owners
Oh my goodness, yes.
and entrepreneurs in their own right. And so I think what you just said about it not being a luxury, but people also need to understand that this is a business and that
Yes.
artists should not, and do not need to work for free for exposure, or we have to pay people what they're owed and value that work and show it by what we're paying them, and also making sure those opportunities are consistent.
Exactly.
Um,
Exactly.
Well, Georgia, thank you so much for, being here with us today. Everyone out there, you can continue to follow Georgia's amazing work. Go to her Instagram and follow her. Go to her website and see what art you can purchase or other projects she's working on. But Georgia, thank you again for being here today. Really appreciate your time.
Thank you so much for having me. It was a pleasure talking with you.
Thank you. I also want to say thank you to our Discover Downtown sponsors. Without these folks, we would not be able to put on this monthly program. So thank you to you all. And I encourage everyone out there to stay connected and support Downtown Raleigh in any way that you can. You can do that by following Downtown Raleigh Alliance on social media. You can sign up for our weekly newsletter by going to our website. That self-guided public art tour that I referenced earlier that features work by female artists, you can go to our website, downtownraleigh.org, discover downtown to access that tour. You can also head over to our blog to learn about women-owned businesses in downtown Raleigh. So again, thank you for being here today, and we'll look to see you at the next Discover Downtown tour. Thank you.